Hey, what's up guys? Little man with the big opinion here. Today's video I'm going to talk about water storage, things that you should have that go along with your water storage, and how much water I think you should have stored, and just my 2 cents on the whole matter. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you enjoyed what I'm doing with the channel, consider subscribing. And lastly, if you have a friend or family member that benefit from the discussions that we have in these videos, share the channel with them. So, water is the most important thing that we as humans, life in general, needs. And it is something that we cannot go a very long period of time without. So, it being super important, it should also be somewhere pretty high on your prepping list. And when I say that, the only other thing that would even come close to tying it is having food on your prepping list. Humans can go several weeks without food. Uh, Once you get past about 3 days of water, it starts to get pretty iffy. The longer you go without water, the more you're going to need more advanced medical treatment. So the easiest thing to do is have water on hand. I'm not going to pull them out, but I got a new shelf. I've got water on the bottom, camping style preps on the second part, and then tools on the next part, and then the top just has junk on it. But sitting on that shelf is 2 weeks worth of water for every living thing in this household, including the cats and dogs, because they're part of the family. We're not going to leave them out. There is 1 gallon of water for me and 1 gallon of water for my wife for each day. And then there is 2 gallons of water for the 6 cats and 2 dogs. And that's the numbers that I've come up with. That's how I prep for that. Outside's a 55-gallon drum, topped off with water. And hopefully this month I'll actually get around to hooking it up to the gutters that I have. So everything said and done, there's about 80 gallons of water stored for those in my household, with plans on having more. So that's for me and my numbers. For you, budget a gallon of water per person per day. And then for your pets, about 16 to 24 ounces per pet each day. And that's like bare minimum just to get you through, being alive. On top of that, we have several different water filters. We've got the Berkey in the kitchen. I've got 6 or 7 different, handheld. I've got a couple of Life Straws, mostly Sawyer Minis because that's what I like. And then the knowledge of how to put together your own. Charcoal, rocks, fine sand, something that you can pour contaminated water in for it to filter through. I say that because you want a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, and the idea of 2 is 1 and 1 is none is super important. So, talked about water storage. Have talked about how to treat water. Something else that my local Home Depots do. I don't know if it's everywhere, where they have the free water test kit, and you're supposed to, test your water and send it off to them, and they'll tell you everything that's in it. You can also buy the stuff to be able to determine that on your own. And so we've got our own personal water test kit just in case things get super dicey. Now, I think the next most important thing when it comes to water is, say whatever problem we got ourselves in went past that 2 weeks. What are we doing now to replace the storage, being self-sufficient? The closest water supply to me is a creek that's about half a mile from my house. And then there's a large pond about a mile from the house. Can't get water any closer. That's why I've kept the gutters clean and am hoping to get it attached to more water storage. So for each individual person, it's a good idea to have knowledge of where your water sources are. I'd say if it gets past 2 miles to get water, you've gone way too far. If you have the ability to put in a well, I would spend the energy and resources to put in a well. If you have a roof, which I hope most of y'all have a roof, then I would strongly consider getting gutters put in. That way you can attach it to really any size barrel. I mean, you could do 5-gallon buckets if you wanted to that were food grade, and piece them all together and create a water storage system that way. But all the way down the line, you have water storage, you need ways to treat the water, you need to know where you can locate and acquire more water. And if you live in a big city, then it's probably a good idea to also have one of those universal water keys. That way you have the ability to get water that is already mostly through the pipe system, because most water is stored pressurized. Like even the town that I'm in, their water storage is 500 or 600 feet up on top of a hill, so you won't lose water pressure until they run out of water that's being pumped up the other side of the hill. And it works mostly the same in cities. That's why you have water towers. It's gravity fed pressure. If you live in a place where you have more freedom on your property, so not living in an apartment or anything like that, well, some sort of rain catchment. And on a side note for the well, having some sort of manual option as well. I've seen a lot of different people on YouTube, when they put in wells, they'll put in a solar panel and a battery backup. But even those can fail, so having some sort of manual option as well. You put in all of this effort, you might as well spend the money up front and go all the way with it. Other than that, I don't got anything else for y'all. If y'all feel like you could add something to this discussion, leave it in the comment section down below. If you have questions, any type of prepping questions, I'd probably answer other questions too. Leave it in the comment section down below. I might turn it into a video, explaining your question further in depth. But that being said, like the video if you enjoy it. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, hit the subscribe button. And if you have a friend or family member that would benefit from these discussions, send a link of the channel to them. And with that, catch you in the next one.